Hey everyone. Oh, you know what I just thought of? I can make OBS take up less space so it's not blocking my YouTube chat. I don't know why this never occurred to me earlier. I guess because I end up shrinking the video to be this big. It shouldn't really matter though. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's do that. So I think the today command is already up to date. Yep. And where do we leave off? Until you have an adventure, you shouldn't be able to open up any adventurer-specific UIs. Yeah, so let's go do that. You shouldn't start with an adventurer. Do we have anything about the rogue here? Yes, we do. This is going to have to get deleted at some point. I actually don't know how we want to do this. Change this so that we instead provide a pool of classes. Should also give you the choice of any from previous tiers that you don't already have. Don't need to store anything extra for that. I'm not even sure if we want a pool of classes. Or maybe we just randomly pick two. Previous hirings, I don't know. And previous adventures that you don't already have. Yeah, sure, cool. Anyway, hi. I don't know if I said hi to you specifically at Prestle and Vince, but hi. We've been making some pretty good progress. So we're not going to start you with an adventurer. Hire a random adventurer. What? Where does this even? Something gives you your first adventure. And I think it's in start game. Yeah, here it is. Hire random. It's not even random. I don't know why it's called that. So if we do this, then you'll just have your worker, which will automatically be walking around, which maybe even that we don't want. This might break a bunch of stuff. So let's try it and see. If you were to open certain UIs, it would almost certainly break. Did anything break right off the bat? No. If we open up the skill tree, it just doesn't show anything. I mean, that's not necessarily a problem. And if we click start battle, it says you need to have at least one adventurer. And we just don't have an adventurer. Okay. Honestly, this is not too bad. It's not like thoroughly broken or anything. Then we hire adventurer, and now we have one. And we could just start the battle. Although now that we popped up the dialogue, I guess. Wait, no. Was there a problem with that? There might have been. It was kind of hard to tell. I'm going to try that again, but I'm going to do it the correct way this time. I'm going to hire the adventurer and then click start battle. Does that work? No. Interesting. So something about start instance. There's some code in here that knows how to... This right here. Player wants to start battle. If get available adventurers is 0. Oh, because we add them to your battle party at first. Where do we do that? Set adventurers. Party chooser. Yeah, this right here. If you have exactly one adventurer, put them in your battle party. I still want this to happen somewhere or somehow. It doesn't have to even be this code specifically. Because now you're not going to start with an adventurer. You're going to pick one adventurer when starting the game. How do we want to do this? Maybe just when you first hire your adventurer. Maybe on add adventurer. No, we can't do it there because then it would always get called for your very first one. What do we do when you load? We don't have anything for loading. I could just ignore this for now. It's not a big deal. You're going to hire your first adventurer. And we need to know that you've hired your first one. And then yeah. And then somehow tell this thing that you got your first one. I'm just thinking about the new player experience here. When you start, I want to simplify as much as possible for you. And I think it's going to mean not having the battle slots show up at first. Yeah, I'm not positive. I think we're just going to delete this code for now, though. And I'll just add it at some point in the future, maybe. Where did the code even go? Right. No, not there. In the party chooser? Yeah, here it was. Okay, party chooser. Let's go get a link directly to that. Party chooser. That's not the right party chooser. I want the code file. Yeah, this. So we'll just add a new task. See if we can put this code back in. It's what lets you click start battle when you only have one adventurer and immediately enter a battle. All right, well, we're going to delete it for now. Done. All right. Yeah, the eventually not showing them on screen is another important part. I don't want to overwhelm people. There should probably be some amount of UI that just literally doesn't show yet. I don't know if we have a task for that, so I'll just write something. File a task to not show the adventurer skills UI until you have an adventurer. If you could somehow open it ahead of time, then you'd see the placeholder screen. Okay. So we have a toggle skill tree thing in the town. Yeah, here. And this calls toggle skill tree visibility. We want to make sure you have adventurers before you can even open this. So if get adventurers dot count is equal to 0, I guess if it's just greater than 0, then set it to visible. Use any, sure. So now you can't open that. Yeah. We also need to prevent you from leveling up your adventurers before you have any, although I don't think that'll be a problem. Make sure you can't level up adventurers before. You know what? Let's just code it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Level up adventurers. Okay. So if you don't have any, get adventurers dot any. No adventurers to level up. Perfect. Cool. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. We need the guild master to take your money. Okay, so if we're going to do that, that's a new task altogether. So this is now no longer start you with an adventurer and don't make them cost any money. And then this code's going to have to go somewhere. So let's go get that. Town.cs. Modify money. Where are you? Here. To take your money. Done. This is a canonical link, right? Yep, it is. So now we can delete this code and delete this code. And since I can't tell what that looks like, let's go find, what line is that? Where'd the code go? There it is, 523. That's not right. It was 523. Now it's this right there. Air Adventure. Yeah, we deleted some code from here. How's the progress been? Not great. This week I've been a little burned out, so we're only just getting to the part where there's progress. I think you were here for the last thing where there was actual visible progress, which is life values now persist after battle. So that has been almost completely coded. I think there's like one little thing that's missing. So if I just do this and we speed this up, you'll see whatever life I end up at, I then have to regenerate that life Well, don't have to, but you will regenerate that life. So anyway, there's that. And then the stuff we've been working on lately has been this stuff. You can click build, you can build the guild, and then this character is eventually going to give you this dialogue. I have these adventurers available for hire. You can pick one and it'll actually hire them. So that is working. All right, so stop giving the player their first adventure. Stop starting the player. Stop starting with an adventurer. You'll have to hire them first. Cool. Good. Yeah, it did give it a big boost. There are so many things that need to come together for a game, and it's hard to know what order should you do them in. Like, the graphics don't really affect the gameplay, but it makes it feel more like a game. But it also takes time. So how much did you worry about gameplay? How much did you have closer to the real graphics? Okay, so we need the guildmaster to take your money and remember that you're able to hire an adventurer. So that means you need to be able to talk to the guildmaster first. So we need to spawn a dialogue at them. What are they going to say? Well, I guess I need to give you an option. Looks like you need an adventurer. I can find one for you if you'd like. Looks like you need to hire an adventurer. I can find one for you if you'd like. And then hire, and then maybe we put the cost right in the button. I don't know. It'll only cost you 20G. Hire, and then there'd be a close button somewhere. Close at the top right, maybe something like this. I think this is pretty reasonable. You're able to do low quality art that still has the same size as the final one. I don't think you really need art until later. Well, but then if you don't have the art, even doing the low quality art might take time. Also, adding the low quality art might have different requirements in the final art. So it is a balancing act, and I think it's hard to figure out where exactly that inflection point is of wasted effort and value for beginning players. I like this dialogue. I think it's a good idea. I think what we should start to do is make a generic dialogue class. So if we make a dialogue, it would have like main text, a close button, an action button, and pass in a callback. Something like that. Yeah. What's the dialogue we have over here? I should probably just save the game or something. So this one looks like this. Actually, we have them both on the screen. Let's just take a picture as soon as that thing fades away. Fade away. Go away. Yes. Good. All right, so this first one does not have a close button. Actually, I guess every dialogue is a little bit different. We could make like a skeleton for it, but some of these I don't want there to be a close button. And for some, I do want there to be one. I also, little polish things I want to do. Polish, center the hire button, hire adventurer dialogue, and center the party members that show. Well, let's not worry about refactoring stuff yet. Let's just make this be functional. So yeah, I think this dialogue is pretty reasonable. Let's go make the dialogue. We had hire adventurer dialogue. I'm just going to save this as, I guess hiring is the act of actually getting the adventurer. So what's the act of getting the choice? Pay for hire dialogue? Yeah. Pay to hire adventurer dialogue. It's at least a little bit clearer, maybe. Pay to hire adventurer dialogue. Cool, cool, cool. I'm going to copy paste in the label. Yeah, hey, Darkstorm. So it looks like you need to hire an adventurer. This should wrap. Yeah. And then we have a close button. How do I want that to work? Not sure where I want to put it. But this is me kind of belaboring the point. We could put it at the upper right of the dialogue. We could put it right next to here. Not now, thanks. Could be something like that. You know what? I'm going to do it like that for now. That's okay. Okay, so we don't have adventurers. So there's going to be a hire button. And there's going to be a not now, thanks button. Later button. I guess it'll be called the close button. And maybe we don't even want to show that in the future. And then we'll put these inside of an HBox container. Bloop. And then not make them take up a ton of space. Layout, container size, shrink. Layout, container size, shrink. Good. And then set the minimum size of this whole thing to be a little larger than what it is. It's currently about 200 pixels. We'll set it to 350, I guess. Yeah. And then within this thing, let's also add in an H separator at this level. And then just make it be invisible. I wonder if, I don't know, I'm not gonna worry about that. Separator, new style box, flat. And set the alpha to 0. Okay, pretty cool. I'm happy with this. Why is this label? Labels with auto wrapping must have a custom minimum size to work correctly inside a container. Maybe this is what should have had 350. I'll set it to 200. Whoops, wrong value. There. Okay, pretty reasonable. Maybe we just center these. Okay. So this is what'll pop up when you click the guild master. So let's go look at guild sign. This is where we have the spawn dialog. Now guild master is going to have the same thing. But the guild master needs its button connected to it. I think shopkeep already has this done. Clickable area. Yeah. Input event. On input event. This is something NPC should do for us. I'll write that in cleanup. NPC should handle the clicking stuff for shopkeep and guild master. So when you left click, it's going to spawn a dialog. Spawn dialog. And we add it as a child here. We could keep track of whether you spawned one already, but there shouldn't be a way for you to click it again. But I shouldn't say that there won't be a way. So I guess we can just keep track of it. We could also just check to see if it has a child named whatever the dialogue is called. Yeah. So if has child, no, get child, get node, I guess, get node. What's the name of this thing? Pay to hire adventurer dialogue. So if this is not equal to null, then just return. Otherwise, get it. I don't know where it is. Pay to hire adventure dialogue. Game scenes town. Okay. Oh, I never added a script for it. Detach, attach. So where'd the first one go? When in game source scene script. Source scene script. So now this can be here. Huh, weird. Add the instance, set its position divided by that. That's fine. Has spawn dialog. We don't need that. Label.hide. We don't need that. And then instance.onClick. Okay, we might need something like this eventually. Okay, let's try that out. Just see where that brings us. It's really cool connecting all this up. Hey, BoyNet. On YouTube. I'm only 7 minutes delayed, even though I purposely moved the window so I'd be able to see this stuff. It's just barely far enough out of my field of view. All right, so we click build guild. We click build. We click the NPC. The NPC should have spawned a dialog. It didn't seem like it did. Unable to cast object to type. Oh, whoops, did I copy the wrong thing? Pay to hire. Pay to hire. Something's wrong here. Somewhere there's a hire adventure dialog. What did I do wrong? Did I forget to save something? I did forget to save something. Always forgetting to save something. Nice. Look at that. Looks like you need to hire an adventurer. I can find one for you if you'd like. It'll only cost you 20G. Okay, I don't know why both of those are disabled. Did I copy paste the dialogue where they were disabled? Because that's all I can think of. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I must have. Okay, so we have those two buttons, hire button and close button. Private button, hire. It's a yes or no. You're forced to just converse with this person until you're dead. Hey, Ramu. Oh, I don't care about that. Public override. Ready. It should know from all the other times I do this what I want to do here. In fact, it should just know how to do the other one. Good. I can literally access a node from outside of some script. No, it's still within the scene as far as I can tell. Unless you do something like this. So here I'm in a different scene. First, I got the node that has the unique name, and then I can access it by unique name. But I couldn't have just said, get me a node somewhere in the scene tree that has this name. It won't go hunting it down for you. So as far as I know, there's no reason not to use this, and I have a cleanup task to use it because what we do right now in the town is a little ridiculous. Like we have a whole bunch of pathing here when all of this stuff could just be like get tile map, get start instance, get in-game menu. So I'm going to eventually change that. These are the kinds of things that once I have time again, these can happen. So when you hire something or when you go to hire someone, we'll say like on hire or hire, pay to hire, pay to hire, pay to hire. I don't know, whatever. We'll come up with better names later. Close button will just be close. All right, so private pay to hire, just print. Still have to code this. And then the next thing we want is to just free this dialog. Namespace. Okay. So you'll be able to click the close button and then it should let you open the dialog again. Build. Click this. So you need to hire an adventurer. I say not now. Doesn't do anything. Why not? Node not found hire button. What do I call it? Oh, %signs. Yeah, now they won't take no for an answer. Is that define the canvas layer? Yeah. It should hopefully be easier. It should be easier for pretty much all of our initializations. Okay, now they accept no for an answer. And if you say higher, then nothing happens. It just prints out, still have to code this. But how does the guildmaster know about code? How are they able to say that? They're aware that they exist only in code. Okay, so when you click hire, it's going to take your money, and then we got to maintain some state indicating that you are allowed an adventurer. When you click hire, we need it to take your money and then remember that you're allowed to hire one adventurer. Arcane level 8 spell. This is an advanced guild master. Heard of infravision, but maybe they have matrix vision. So who's going to do the remembering here? Maybe the guild master themselves? I keep typing guild master. Someone needs to know how many adventurers you can hire. I mean, we could just put it in the town for now. Although, who's going to know or care about this? I guess the guild master kind of needs to know. Could just store it here for now. Yeah, let's just do that. All right, so private int num adventurers. It's not even an int. It's just a Boolean. Has paid for next adventurer. Yeah, there, that's it. So there are a couple of dialogues we can have. There's the spawn pay for adventure, pay to hire dialogue. And that's what this all is. And then there's the spawn hire dialogue. And that's what's in the town right now that should not be in the town. But then this needs to go out to the town. So we need a signal when you build the guild. Skeleseller. Imagine that's the next game we make. A typing game. Oh man. Actually, you could make it so that instead of everything being automated, it's only moving stuff when you type words. There could just be one giant fuel meter, and every time a character does something, it takes from that fuel. All right, so something needs to know about the guild at some point. We're gonna need to connect that to here. Let's not worry about that yet. How about this? Has paid for next adventurer. Actually, even this is gonna be a problem, right? We need a signal for like you just hired something. There are games. Yeah, there are games built on typing words, but are any of them like kind of just idle games that play themselves? I think a lot of times it's like the words are in the world somewhere, and by typing that word, you end up shooting at that location or something and destroy an enemy. So you got to be a little bit strategic about what you're choosing to type, and then obviously you need to type well enough. Skeleseller. Just picture one of those kids' toys with a wheel, and you pull it and it goes, the cow goes, moo. What does this skeleton go? What do they say? Do we need to make a song about this? What does the skeletal fox say? And so in this case, the hire dialogue is going to be pretty similar to this. It's going to be no, it's not going to be. It's going to be hire adventurer dialogue. And we're just going to kind of copy paste all these things. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Except for unbloop, the last one. There. And then in spawn dialogue, we do this. If has paid for next adventurer, then do that. Yep, yep, yep. Cool. All right, so we need a signal out of here. Public action. What is this? A question mark? I don't know. Heck, if I ever pay attention. It's not. It's an event action. Okay. This will be on paid. We invoke that from here. Then we listen to it from here. On paid. Has paid for next adventurer. Well, that looks pretty good. And then we get the new dialogue. You can't close the new dialogue. We've got to delete it from the town. We're going to eventually need this code. Oh, I don't want to do this. But fine. We have an add building. We need to know that it's the... Well, I guess it's only ever the guild right now. And then we need a couple of things here. We need to know when you hired someone. On hire adventurer. I guess it'd be... No, we need to know what you hired, right? Yeah, hire adventurer. Yeah, that works. Okay, and then we need one other one? Maybe just that. We got to write something. File task to save that you paid for an adventurer. Okay, let's go code that. This is on the building itself, though. So the guild master needs to know that it belongs to the guild. Guild master is just some separate thing right now. But I guess the guild knows that it has a guild master. Yeah, it's right there. And it's what, a sprite? Well, more importantly, it's a guild master. So I guess we could just get it from here. Private guild master. Guild master. Looks good so far. Guildmaster dot on hire adventurer plus equal invoke. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. Hire adventurer dialogue. Okay, so this goes from here to the guild master. Actually, we don't really need a signal here, right? We could just connect it directly. No, whatever, I'm gonna make a signal here. Action for the adventurer class. When you have finally hired it, instance.on hired. And then we free it up here too. I think the hire adventurer dialog already knows to free itself. I think we can just leave it as is then. All right, then the guild passes that upwards. This needs to have adventurer class in it. And then it also needs the event. Why is this still a problem? Oh yeah, it shouldn't be a problem anymore. And why is this a problem? Unhired. Oh, that's why. Then the town listens for that. And we call this thing. Why is this a problem now? Has the wrong return type. Oh, it's got to be void. Oh, that sucks. So now we can delete this. Debug set of hire dialog. And then delete it from the game. Then I think we're ready to test that. Yeah, just delete you. I feel like I'm missing something, but I guess we'll find out when I try to play the game. All right, let's go over here, build a guild, click this character, say not now, it's totally fine, click hire. It says I have these adventurers available for hire. If we could close this, it should remember that we've already paid for it. I choose the mage and I click hire, and we should have gotten a mage. Yep, we did. Wow. Oh, that's broken. Oh, come on. Why is that broken though? Why'd that happen? Everything else worked perfectly. Just that one little bit. Whoops. Oh, I can't open the skill tree. Right. So adventurers. I click hire, I get the mage. And now, yeah, this box is off for some reason. What could do that? I think it's because we set the selection before this thing is showing. We could verify this by just deleting what I did on toggle skill tree visibility. And if this fixes it, then I guess we've got to figure out how to size this properly. It did not fix it. So it doesn't have to do with us setting this while it's invisible. Oh, that means what are we doing? We're setting its selection and then its size is changing. I guess that's what that means. Character selector. How does its size change though? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Is selected. When we set this to just size. Is that the problem? There's all sorts of weird things that can happen here. And I wrote some of these down. Where do we have this? What even is this? Oh man, I remember what game that was for. Jeez. I don't know where the problem is. Or I don't even know where this is. Maybe it could be any other note entirely. Nodes. Jeez, you have to make them visible first. Setting its text doesn't immediately update the size, called get minimum size instead of size. And if that doesn't work, then wait for process frame. Could we just do get minimum size here? I sure hope so, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, good. And that's why you take notes. Yeah, so that's working. We can hire an adventurer. Now when we click this, oh, it doesn't, oh, that's a problem. The guildmaster needs to know that you did not pay for the next adventurer now. So on hired, then paid for next adventurer is false. I want to put a close button on the hire adventurer dialog. In fact, how about this? Let's just queue free it and not hire the adventurer. Which is going to make us pay again because it won't know, but that's okay. Actually, that's kind of dumb. All right, so we go to hire, we hire the mage. Oh no, it won't ever call in. Wait, what? Yeah, it won't ever call the signal out of here. So it's like we just close it. Okay, good. So that's working. So now this is the thing I actually wanted to test. And let me guess, the one time I could have used hot reloading, it didn't hot reload. Of course not. So we get the mage. We have to hire another person now. We get the rogue. Cool. Yeah, it's not actually taking your money yet. Make the guild master take your money. Oh, I guess that was already the next task, huh? All right, how do we make it take your money? We need this to say that you've paid. On paid. Do we have an on paid function? No, we just have hired. On paid for adventurer. Dot invoke. Yeah. Now we don't care who you paid. Actually, we don't even know who you paid for yet. We just know that you paid. So in the town, when we had the building, we're gonna also do instance dot on paid. All right, where's the money code? Here it is. There's a problem with this though. Wait, guild doesn't contain, oh my God. I gotta name this the same thing. Unpaid for adventure. Good and good. Error. I forget a semicolon somewhere. Return null. We can't do that. I don't trust people coding in shirts, so then you don't trust me. But I just said you don't trust me, so what does that mean? Is there a paradox? Welcome to the stream anyway. Yeah. So we haven't actually hired anyone yet here. Just kidding. Do you trust me more than you trust a regular person? A subpar person, if you will. So there is a problem here, which is that we don't even know that you can pay for the adventurer yet. The same amount? Okay. Well, I'm disappointed. The guildmaster has this code here. Spawn hired out. So this is all assuming that you can pay for this. And we don't know that you can pay for this. There are a couple of ways we could do this. Either we let the guildmaster know about the town, which I don't want to do, or we give them a callback function, or we send a signal out to like on wants to pay, and then something gets back to it with whether it can pay. Hey, Wouter. What a joke. What a joke. How's your standing desk working for you? I run into this problem a lot with the game in general, which is like the town has the money value, and now the guild master needs that money value. And it's like, okay, option number one is give the guild master a reference to town. Option number two is send a signal out saying we want to do something and have the town validate it. Option number three is well, I think these are the most reasonable ones. And the more I think about it, the more I think they should probably just have a reference to the town. And also the stand-up jokes. We're on a roll out there. I feel like I should set you up for something else now. Do you have any good Dutch jokes, but that are written in English? I guess they'd have to do with something about the Netherlands that I may or may not actually know. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop responding now. 90% of programming is just dependency injection. Yeah, and if there were more time to work on this or more people working on it, I'd probably be more diligent about writing tests. I think tests are where your dependency injection is actually tested, because it's like you probably don't want some fully formed town reference inside your guild master. You probably just need some source of money, and that's it. And that's when you'd probably inject it with something like you'd have like an money source, and you'd just have a way of getting what your money is, and the town is one such money source. I'm not going to do that. That one's far-fetched. If there wasn't an S in respond, I feel like it would not be far-fetched. All of my last job was at just testing and stuff. And changing around dependencies. Yeah. I think we're just going to pass in the town and store it. Private town equals null. All right, so we initialize the guild with a town as well. Actually, the guild master could just be an entity that has a town component on it, which is kind of a weird way of doing things, I guess. I'm going to put this into this as well. Yeah. So init In this case, the guild master only exists after ready, so we need to call init after we've added it to the scene tree. We don't actually even need to store the town here, now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Okay, next up, we go to the town itself. We go to add building. We initialize this instance dot init this. All right, and then we need to get the cost of the next adventurer, which better be a public function. It is. Although then again, it's only calling something that is in cost functions anyway, but it needs to get adventurer for the count. So we just need to know that you have enough money. Guildmaster now just owns the town. Yeah, like I said, this is not the best way of doing things, and I'm okay with it given that I just feel like there isn't the time to do everything correctly. I wanted to get this game done by the end of the year, and the amount of stuff we have left to do, it's just a lot. And it's okay if it gets bumped a little bit, but I don't want it taking to like 2026, you know? All right, so I think what we'll do is we'll just make a function here. Public pool has enough money for next adventurer. There. And then where do we check this? Not level up, not add building. I guess add building had part of it here. Yeah. Yep, let's do that. So now the guild master can call into this function itself. Although the guild master doesn't really need to. You just shouldn't have this dialogue unless you can afford it, which would mean every time your money gets modified, we would need to know about it in the guild master. We could do that. Yeah, we could do that. All right, so unpaid, this button just shouldn't be enabled unless you have the money. But let's say there's something wrong and we'll just do this. So if you don't have enough money, then just return. Probably also should set the button to disabled. And then whenever your money gets modified, and I think the town has a thing for this. Yeah, money changed. So back in the guild master. What a thing to highlight your message for. I want to close this. So back in the guild master and ready. Oh wait, we can't do this here now. We got to do it here. Yeah. Town.money changed plus equal money changed. Cool. And here's where we're going to disable or enable this thing. If town.has enough money for next adventurer, we're going to set the button's disabled property. Foo.disabled equals not this. Now, what is foo? It's the... Oh, wait. We can't do this very easily. Yeah, because we may not have the pay to hire dialog open. It is crazy how much time and effort goes into this. I say, seemingly ignoring Wouter's rust/trust pun. I think part of it is if you do this enough, you start building tools for doing some of these things in the future faster. It's like you have a game engine and that already lets you make a game faster, but then you'd have a library on top of that with all the functions you frequently need. And I think this is like the meta level of development for doing things at scale. If you had to do everything from scratch every single time, you'd never get anything done. Wonder what a therapist would say if I talked about code to them. I don't think you'd be talking about like functions and stuff. I think you'd be talking about like, oh, when I think about coding, I feel this way, or I have a ton of work. If you were like, how do I rearrange my functions or how do I architect my program? Yeah, I think that would be Something they couldn't help you with. So yeah, the problem is we don't store a reference to this dialogue. So problem, we want to disable / enable the hire button based on whether you have enough money. But the dialogue doesn't always exist. So option number 1 is the simplest one. Just store a reference to the dialogue and update it if we have one. I think that's probably what we'll go with. Option number 2 is have the dialogue listen to the town's money changed event, which, to be honest, is probably the way that makes the most sense. Yeah, actually, I kind of like that. But that would mean having a special script for that dialogue. Oh, which we already have. Well. well. All right, so I'll make a public void init town, and then just listen to on money changed. Yeah. Actually, we don't even need to know how much money there is. Yeah, we could just do that. Although we do need to store the town if we're going to do that. Private town equals null. Great. Now the guildmaster doesn't need this, which wouldn't have made sense in the first place anyway. Good. Yeah, nice. Let's try it out. How much money does this cost? We got to make it a lot. Where's the cost? There it is. New adventurer cost. All right, let's make the first one cost 20,000. So that button should be disabled from the get-go. 1 million. I mean, there's no real functional difference between 20,000 and 1 million here. All right, so we can't hire an adventurer, so this should be disabled. Why is it enabled? Doesn't do anything because it knows we don't have enough money. Oh, because when it's not money change, it's also when we initialize this, we need to keep track. Pay to hire adventurer. Yeah, when init, we need to just call money changed town.money. This is more like set hire button enabled state. It's kind of a weird way to do things. Also, we don't even need the amount of money in there. So in here, we could just pass in literally anything. Yeah, talk to your mechanic. Having coding issues. They'd throw a wrench at you so fast. Why is this enabled still? What's going on? Town.money. Disabled equals if you don't have enough money for this. I'm setting a breakpoint here. I don't know what's going on. It's not even being hit. Well, that's peculiar. I probably forgot to call init. Whoops. Let's go look at the guild master. Well, would you look at that? Instance.init town. I did forget to call it. Well, now we don't need a breakpoint here. I'm pretty certain this is going to just work. Hooray. Okay, so it's not enabled. Now we're going to give ourselves a ton of money. So grant money. We're at 10,000. We're going to grant money again, and it just enabled itself because we're at 20,000. Click hire. Not enough money to hire. Okay, that's not right. How could that have possibly happened? Not enough money to hire. Oh, whoops, if has enough money. That's supposed to say if not has enough money. Yeah. Wait a second. How did it... Oh. I see. We don't even technically need this here anymore. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. We just have a pay for next adventurer here. Public void pay for next adventurer. There. Now we don't need a signal. Which is kind of weird. If we're going to just violate the whole signal process that we have, then we also wouldn't need it for this. We could just call hire adventurer directly. I mean, I guess we might as well do that if we're going to save this. We could always change it later. Cuts out code in the town, though, which is nice. Although it makes everything coupled to town, which is not nice. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I already wrote the signals. Let's just keep them where they are. This shouldn't be able to happen. Yeah. There. Okay. So now let's try this. So we don't have enough to hire. We grant money twice. We get enough to hire. We click hire and it should immediately go down to 0. Good. So at this point, there is no close button here. And I don't know if I want to add a close button or not, but if you were to close it, you'd be able to get right back to this dialogue. And you can choose which one you want to hire. And at this point, it's free because you already paid the money. It's kind of unfair to say that it's free. So now if we open up that dialogue again, it says you need 20 gold. We grant money. Ooh, that time it did not update. Does it think we need 20,000 again? No, it's just not. It's not enabling itself. Oh, there's a bug. Cannot access this. Oh, right. Yeah, we got to disconnect from this listener. That's the only thing we have, right? Yeah. Hey, Skitter Cat. Thanks for the resub. Is this a new copy pasta going around? Because I don't recognize what song this might be just from that. I know the Brain Power copy pasta and the Scatman copy pasta. Is it from Scatman? Huh. Then I guess I've just never seen it written out. Oh man. What was I just doing? Something on my clipboard. Yeah, that's right. Pay to hire. All right, so the listener we want to clean up is this. Scatting mad bars. This is never saved. Oh boy. We should have just accessed it based on this. Does not exist in the current context. What? How is that possible? I don't believe this. I'm gonna try running this anyway. Yeah. See? Always trust your instincts. Never trust the code. Never trust anyone in a button-down shirt. All right, let's try it. Build. So this costs 20K. Grant. We now have 20K. We hire someone. Great. Then the next one costs 20 gold. So we grant money once. We click hire. We've lost our 20 gold. Nice. Walter's really reaching now. We've done it. All right, now let's go make the cost dynamic. So the guild master says it'll cost you 20G. Oh, it doesn't even know how much it costs. It's that it's a label hard coded in here. All right, well, what do we call this? I guess a label is fine, but then let's make it unique. Did I make the assets myself? No, I did not. I got the base from Itch as an asset pack, and then Quickie Joe is making the rest of the artwork. So for example, this was all from the asset pack. These are the basic characters, but then the special characters you get, the adventurers, are all ones that were done by Quickie Joe following the assets. And actually, there was some really good feedback, which I got to share with Quickie Joe. Let me actually see. Quickie Joe in chat? No. Anyway, there was really good feedback that said something like, I know you used more than an asset pack, but I can't tell which assets are from the pack and which ones are extra. Like the art style matches pretty much perfectly, which I think is great. So yeah, very happy about that. Okay, Watcher, you just entered the Fantastic Four because now you're super reaching. I was going to do something. I keep forgetting. Man, what was I going to do? Oh, yeah, change the label. Oh, my God. I'm just forgetting everything. All right, that label is in the pay to hire dialogue. Yeah. Unfortunately, this just broke everything, huh? Debug restart? That's not what I wanted. I wanted to restart VS Code. I don't know if there's a way. Okay, so here's the problem. And this started ever since I added hot reloading, which I think I'm just going to go disable because it's causing more problems than it's helping with. But I can't press F12 and go to this instance. It says no definition found. And if I do restart through this, maybe I need to do restart language server. The only way I've known how to fix this in the past has been just restart all of VS Code. I don't think any of these restart things actually do anything for me. Like it highlights it correctly for a second and then undoes it. Oh wait, no, that time it worked. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know which restart did it. Probably the second one. So we want to get the label now. Label. Buggy tool for sure, yeah. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to make that unique, didn't I? Yes, I did. So we get the label. We need the text from inside the label, which is here. Text goes here. Let's just do that so that we don't ever think that it's, well, text about. And save that, and then set this up whenever your money changes. Not when your money changes. Just when we make this the first time. So I guess in init. Label.text equals this. And then we just need the cost. What is the cost? Get cost of next adventure. It's an int. I guess because we never planned on having it be in the billions. Where did I not write out cost? Where'd that go? Oh, I didn't know what the type was. Gotcha. Get cost of next adventure. And we put that here. There. They make their payments as installments. It'll just be 1 million gold per day for 1,000 days. Tom Nook's got nothing on my town. Nothing. Yeah, so now it's got the correct amount, 20,000 gold. Click higher. Then the next one should say 20 gold. So this is the progression in this game. We start really, really expensive and then eventually get to the point where it's just free. And that way you have no fun playing the game. Now this is important because this is what's going to sell other games. So then we'll market a bunch of fun games that people will want to go play instead. We do an affiliate link. And we make a boatload of cash. Okay. Step 3 profit. I think that was step 2 in this case. So have I done everything here? I think we have. Let me try one more time. Isn't step 3 question mark, question mark, question mark? Did somebody say question mark, question mark, question mark? Then I've got the world's dumbest picture for you. Oh yeah, I remember now. I wanted to change it so that the first adventurer costs you some small amount of gold. How I've been in the chat this long. You know what's funny is that command, if you just go to a.bot.land, it's the very first command that shows up because it's a symbol. And it's one that people end up discovering more than the other ones, I guess. But yeah, I think I remember who made that. It was just years ago. They were slapping a bunch of pictures of me or the emotes that we had onto other pictures. They made some pretty good stuff, actually. How old does that mean? It's pretty old. It's got to be at least 7 years. Okay, so game design question. How much money do you start with? Now, just to be clear, the answer is going to be effectively 0. But if you were an adventurer, how much do you set out with? And remember, in this game, you die pretty early on. So like maybe 50 gold? I know we don't know how much a gold is in real life. Like how many gallons of milk would this buy you? But I think 50 gold, 100 gold, like those are probably pretty reasonable starting amounts. Oh yeah, the rising desks thing. Oh man. Bought that land is a pretty wild domain known. I had to buy it from someone years and years and years ago, even before I started streaming. And it cost quite a pretty penny. And then that person actually followed up with me after I launched Botland. I guess they were checking to see what I did with the domain. And it was really nice of them. They were like, oh, I've been rooting for you. It's nice to see you launch this. Probably like 2 if you're a peasant. So let me put a constraint on this. You need to be able to afford your first guild and first adventurer and first shop with this. Which makes it seem maybe more like you should start with 100 gold. Yeah, you can't start with 0 because you've got to be able to, like, I need some lore reason for how you're able to build your town in the first place. Like, it makes sense that you could cobble together a table on your own, so fine, you can start with a table. But then there's just a sign that says build guild. How much does this cost? What could you actually afford? The picture, yeah, but what about the underlying, like the original meme picture? Also, do these have the right texture thing on it? Linear. I think this should already be set for everything. And higher, I'll put this here. Filter linear, there we go. Maybe the player character should be the first adventurer, and if that character dies, game over. The player character was the first adventurer, the 0th, if you will, and then you did die. That's why the game's called Skeleseller, because you wanted to be an adventurer and then you got poisoned and died. So now your first adventurer is the one you're about to hire. Start with 0 after passing the tutorial. But the tutorial is asking you to build things. Also, I feel like in a lot of games that give you money for a tutorial, there's like a reason that you got the money. But in this case, you're in a town pretty much all on your own. And there'd be no explanation for why you did something right and then you just magically got money. Who would work for a skeleton, though? I mean, clearly Rogue would, Mage would. Have you not met these people? Take out a loan and start in debt? That was another possibility, yeah. But I think, like, okay, so I guess a house would never cost like 12 gold if hiring a person costs, 10 gold. But maybe it's not a house. Maybe it's just a person at a desk. I don't know why you're getting the person either. I don't know. I'm just going to make up some numbers. Let's have you start with 100. Do we have a starting money amount? Town money equals game constants dot starting money. All right, and that's got to be a long public const long equals 100. Often a rich landowner that offered someone settling rights on their land. They'd get a population together from somewhere in the town to be settled. Wow, dude. We're just talking about a video game, though. Give him the right from the start. But I guess part of this is... Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm going to have it cost 100. And then we got to figure out, what are there, 3 things you need? We got to make it so that the cost of those 3 things are correct relative to each other. So what are the 3 things? You need a guild. You need... So guild plus NPC. Well, guild and guild master. They're like a package deal. And then you need your adventurer. And then you need a shop. Plus the shopkeep. All right, so guild and the guild master can cost, I don't know, 40. Adventure costs 20 and the shop costs 40. That's probably pretty reasonable. I studied for this, okay. I know. But I was looking for, fantasy medieval world, not real medieval world. Plus, I doubt coins are made out of gold then, right? Probably some kind of metal or silver or something. Well, other metal. This is probably reasonable enough. Maybe even the shopkeeper costs a little bit less. 50, 20, 30. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Let's just write that down. Make these be the costs. Yeah, okay, cool. Now I can accept your answer, Wouter. Yeah, so wealthy landowner. Why didn't you say that from the beginning? And then quest indicators and everything. Okay, I think we will go change the guild cost. So we'll say guild cost equals 50. Now something needs to show this in the UI. I don't even remember where that goes. Oh, there's a guild sign, right? Guild sign has a label here. Build guild. No, not that. Rat. What shows this? Build guild dialog. Build guild dialog. All right, so that's going to need some text in it. Label. Here it is. Cost. It's called label 3. We're going to change the name of that to be cost label. Then we're going to go get that. Private label, cost label. And then set the label cost game constants dot guild cost. Yeah. Okay. It does not subtract money right now. So something still needs to subtract the money from you at some point. Make sure I'm subtracting money for the guild. And then the first adventurer needs to cost 20. So let's set it to 20. And then the other ones can cost, I don't know, 200 and, I don't know, 100 and 150. Actually, none of this is balanced, right? How about we keep it at 20 and 90? Yeah, there. So the shop and the shopkeep should cost 30 when we finally get to it. It should cost 30G to get the shop. 50 for the guild. I should say the guild is 50. The first adventurer is 20, and you start with 100. Laughter. So the player can buy nothing else. Otherwise, a player that does other things could break. Yeah. Yeah, I got to make sure that that's not possible later. And I think I wrote it down somewhere. Okay, I think we need to check in what I've done so far, but it's looking pretty good. Then I think I'll take a little bit of a break, and then we will get back to, what's the next step here? Oh yeah, the quest indicator thing. I should probably test that before I move on. All of this stuff looks good though. Yep. All right, so the guild should cost, yeah, 50. Although this is just text right now. It doesn't actually take the 50 into account. We should probably always have some consistency for that. She'll cost the same way. Polish, make dialogues more consistent, e.g. by always having cost X, like 10G, show as its own line. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Wait a second. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Looking pretty good. Other than that one thing, party member base. This should be checked in on its own. Fix bug with selection rectangle size. Then the rest of this is going to be, what do we even do? I think the changes look good, but what do they represent? Oh, made it so that you could actually get through to the higher dialogue. Add correct guild dialogue flow. You can now build the guild and hire an adventurer directly from the game. Yeah, instead of needing to cheat your way through it. Okay, good. Let's see if you've paid for an adventurer. Yeah, but I haven't hired them yet. All right, quick break time. Then we'll go work on this. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Well. It's pretty close there at the end. But Marvoy with 1 game played wins their first game. Good job. Close the game. So quest indicator. I want to show this on pretty much everything. Like the sign should probably have it. Guild sign. Let's just add it and see what it looks like. Where is it? Oh, it's hidden by default. All right, yeah. Let's just see. We got to make this more obvious at some point. Yeah, so this is what this is going to look like now. I don't think this looks that great. I think maybe shifting it so that it's on the sign might make it look better. Let's try that. Not really. Maybe above it. And one to the left. It's definitely slim. We need to make it more visible. I'm just wondering, like, let's say this is as visible as it needs to be. Is this good? Or should we have some other kind of indicator that you can click this? Can/should click this? Like it could be glowing. It could have a giant arrow pointing to it. Actually, hang on a second. I'm going to close the door because if the cat gets in here, then it's going to turn into cat petting time and not coding time, and I want to be able to code. I'm going to try clicking the exclamation mark, though. Also, that's showing up no matter what. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think I like it. I think it makes more sense for a person, and that we should make a sign have some other thing that makes it stand out. Okay, so what if we did this? What if we added in a CPU particles and I don't know, just made this a little more like they're coming out of this thing. I always hate trying to come up with this. All right, initial velocity. I want to pick the, oh wait, yeah, there, direct gravity. Set this to 0. There we go. Now set a direction. Oh, there's some variation thing, right? Maybe just velocity variation. There's some, where is it that I'm thinking of? There's some way to customize angle min and max. Are these in degrees? Doesn't even say. Skeletutor, the skeleton sprite blinking on the side. Oh, to try to indicate that you can click something? Oh, spread 360. There we go. All right, now set more particles. Now put this behind the sign, which you can't do because the sign itself is a sprite. Like, I kind of want to make it behind the sign though. And then make it slower. 15, 15. Do we even need the angle thing? I guess the angle controlled the angle of the particles themselves. Hue variation. Color. I feel like there were other things I could control here somehow. I don't know where they are. Yeah, I thought there was some like variation for everything. Yeah, well, I can't find it. Speed min, speed max. This is for animation, which I'm guessing is if the particles weren't just like shapes. Hey, Neochromer, how you doing? And yeah, there's a hue variation thing. Colors we could change. So I think I just want this to show something. Let's do this. Let's make it so that the sign itself is underneath a node 2D so that we can change the particles to be behind the sign. And then move the script, which is what? Guild sign. Can we copy? Be neat if you could just drag the little script icon onto something else, but you can't. Guild sign. So put that up here. Call this guild sign. Have this be the sprite for it. Clickable area, I guess, could be under the sprite. It doesn't really matter too much. And then this just becomes a node 2D, right? Except that everything is under it now. Sprite. I should just make these unique. Clickable area and label. I played it a bit too much and got inspired. Wrote a 4-page game design document. Now you just need 6 months to work on it. Wow, great. That's really cool. And I can't wait until the game actually has more playable content. Look forward to seeing what people have to say about it. I think if these faded in slightly, like the longer it takes you to click on this, the more interesting this sign gets. And I think particles are one way to do it. I just, like I said, there's some way that there's been to control this in the past where I could make it so that it fades out over time. Could have sworn we've done that. What is color ramp? Each particle's color will vary along this. I want like a... Oh, lifetime randomness. There it is. Okay, so this will make it so that some last for a little bit longer, right? Oh, but it's multiplied by that? So we'd set this to like 2 maybe? Yeah, great. But then how do you make it fade out over time? Man. I wrote this down somewhere. Did I seriously not? Particles? I don't know. I don't know if I wrote this down. What about an exclamation mark above the sign? I tried that. I wasn't super happy with it. I just cannot for the life of me get this, can I? Now let's reset both of these. I want there to be some variance in the scale as well. Maybe 1.25 isn't enough. Yeah, 2, sure. Now let's just look this up. Godot particle system fade particles out. How do I make them fade out over lifetime? Enable color ramp. Gradient is followed over time. Oh, that sounds very easy. Oh, neat. Is it working? I'm a little confused by this. I would expect it to go from red to white. But it looks like some are just starting out white. Oh, no, they're not. They just have less velocity. Okay, yeah. So this is what I want. And we just need to make it so that it starts out, let's say, like yellowish. I want it to be brighter yellow. Yeah, like yellow, and then fade to a... Oh, no, no, no. I did not want that. I wanted to just copy the color. I guess that was easy enough to do. All right, and then fade it out to nothing. There we go. All right, how does that look? Because it's against a green background, so it might not be obvious. You need the circle, and the community solution is to use a round gradient. Oh, yeah. Yeah, every once in a while I've seen something like that. I think even CSS needed that a while ago. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. It's attracting your attention to it at least, right? It's not super obvious when you're zoomed out. But at least for this, you're going to be zoomed in. So like, okay, the sign is glowing, you click it. I would say just look at itch for assets. There are some free asset packs. Even the one I'm using has some free components to it. If you look at... Yeah, if you look at this, some of these are pay what you want kinds of things. Yeah, name your own price. Although the name your own price version doesn't have all of the assets, I think. Like you should be able to find something. Okay, now another question is, do I want this on top of the sign or not? No, definitely not. No, that looks stupid. Unless they started and they were slightly transparent or very transparent and then got to be less transparent. The build guild. No. Just the sign to build your guild. All right, well, that's good enough right now. Okay, next is for the NPC. So once you have clicked this and you click build, now I want the NPC to have an exclamation mark. I think they can have one because I think that we're going to be using this quite a lot. Oh, wait, they already have one. We just need to turn it on. All right, how's that look? It's not really super obvious. Super obvious it's for them, is it? If we made this editable children, would this work? Could we move this? We could. I think that's pretty clear. I mean, we need to apply the same general visibility thing on that exclamation mark as we do everywhere else. But I like that. And it's like, hey, you can hire somebody. Although, would you ever not have a way to hire somebody? I don't know. But for now you do, so we're going to show it. And then once you have hired somebody, we'll just stop showing that, I guess. Where is the, what is it even called? New quest indicator. Might as well just make it a unique child, huh? And then this should automatically have gotten that. Yep. Let's go copy it. It's just a label. Why can't I edit this? Is it just a label? It is a label, yeah. Great. Private label, new quest indicate. What's it called? New quest indicator, yeah. Okay, get that. And then when you hire your first adventurer, I guess that's where we'll set this thing to not show anymore. Hey, Milk Pillow. Been lurking off and on since I found your channel a couple weeks ago. Love the content. Quick question. As someone who mainly uses Windows machines, would it still be more beneficial to look into a MacBook Pro for development? First of all, thank you for watching, and I'm glad you like the content. My reason for switching from Mac to Windows, or sorry, Windows to Mac is not super compelling, I think. So I guess the comparison is, would you get a Windows laptop or a Mac laptop? And if you're developing anything for iOS or Mac OS, yeah, it's probably worthwhile. If not, it's not a huge difference, to be honest. Like, I use slightly different programs, but my workflow is almost exactly the same. And even then, not every program is different. Like Chrome, it was always my browser, so it's still my browser. And VS Code works on Mac as well. And then there are some things that are just trade-offs. So, for example, I can't really run Visual Studio on Mac. It's getting sunset this month, I think, for Mac. And it would probably be kind of helpful. Windows now has the Windows subsystem for Linux, and I feel like that bridged the gap a little bit for how people develop on Windows. It's not perfect. I think a lot of it depends too on what kind of code you're dealing with. Let's say you're dealing with like JavaScript, TypeScript kind of things. Your installation process is just going to be like npm install, and it's not going to change too much, I bet. Yeah, sure, there's some native packages and whatever else. But yeah, for things like game development, maybe there are packages where you just only have them on one OS. Anyway, all that was a long way of saying I think it kind of comes down to how you use your computer and what kind of development you do. Spend about $20 or so per year on bundles. Didn't Humble Bundle just close down or something? I second the general advice. Like, try to see what you can find online. And you don't have to spend a ton of money to get some assets you're pretty happy with. Like these Oryx ones I've been using for years and years and years, and I probably paid like $20 or $30 way back when. Now I think they cost $5. But like this was a game made, I think, entirely with these Oryx graphics. And it works. Like I've spent whatever, 20 bucks on this game. You plan to show the name and title of the characters on the screen? I think so. I think we want to try it at least. I think a lot of people said it doesn't really feel sort of personal, but I don't know exactly how we want to do it yet. Can you develop for Windows and Android from Mac? You should be able to, yeah. And at the very least, it's easier to virtualize Windows. But I think Mac specifically has something saying you shall not virtualize like Mac OS from a Windows machine. Like they want it to be on their hardware. And I know there are ways to do it. It's just, I'm not going to develop a very public game and do something that Apple doesn't approve of. Half the distance from its origin and keeping it opaque up until that point. Yeah, we could do that. I think as far as accessibility goes, we're going to have a lot of things we need to do that are beyond the quick stuff I'm doing right now. Color initial wrap. How would we do this? I guess we just added another point here and make this point be slightly more opaque. So now they only fade out right at the very end. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good suggestion for sure, but I think there are a lot of things we could do on that front. Use the Linux for, by the way, did I miss a raid or something? I see a lot of first-time chatters. Oh, I guess I would say raid. Anyway, welcome in, everybody. Let's see, use Linux for 20 years, but my laptop broke and I'm thinking about buying Mac because I need to develop iOS apps. Yeah, like I said, for developing iOS apps, there really isn't a substitute. You'd have to remote into a Mac and it's just more frustrating, I think. Aren't people just using Rider? Yeah, they are. But I'm saying you used to also be able to use Visual Studio, and now that's not really an option anymore. I got a Chromebook as my sort of personal laptop. There were some annoyances that made no sense that they have finally fixed. Like, for whatever reason, my Chromebook does not have a pause play key, and there was literally no way to set that up. And now they finally made it so you can just rebind keys, but there are still some restrictions. But either way, I got it like good enough now. But then the modifier keys are different. So now when I remote into my Mac, there are some things that are just like really awkward to use. But other than that, it works great as just like a personal computer. They're generally cheaper too. Yeah. Yeah, Humble Games closed. Yeah. Oh, not Humble Bundle proper. Oh. Interesting. I thought it was the same. Currently looking at the exact same thing. Want to invest in a laptop for development, but I would want one that has a long battery life. Yeah, so my original reasoning for getting the Chromebook that I got was, oh, I'll just remote into this machine, which is a beast of a machine. But then, like I said, the modifier keys are just like, they're just very, very different. There's a search or a super button on the Chromebook that doesn't exactly operate like any of the other keys on another operating system. So when I try doing things, I just, there are some combos I seemingly cannot press over a remote connection. And that's really frustrating because the way I have to work around that is awkward. So show the quest indicator. This should now go away as soon as you click higher. I might not have reloaded the game. Installing the stuff in the build in VM. Yeah. I do that for some things too. So we click higher. Yep, and that went away. Cool. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go check that in. Looks good, yeah. So make starting controls more enticing. Added a particle effect to the sign, which maybe even that we should slowly fade in over time. Like guild sign. This is the first thing you're going to interact with. So rather than just always show the particle effect, why don't we have it fade in over the course of like 10 seconds? And then even longer after that, we could increase the lifetime or something. I kind of like that idea. Let's do that. So let's search for modulate A and just copy paste this and put it into the guild sign. So create a tween. We don't need a loop. We're going to loop the modulate. And what's the first property? Final val and the duration. So the final val is going to be 1. The duration is going to be like 10 seconds. And its starting value is going to be color or modulate equals there. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at what that looks like. So now over the course of 10 seconds, the sign will get more and more appealing. Where is it? I'm wasting precious seconds. Oh, it's the whole thing that's coming in. Whoops. I meant to do that just on the particle system. CPU particles. I think that's what its name should be. No, it's capitalized CPU. All right, so the modulate of that is going to be set that way. And there we go. Let's try that out. I could just use GPU particles, I guess. I guess it doesn't really matter in the end. I wonder if we could just copy paste everything now. Collision. Oh, these have different different properties entirely. Interesting. To process the particles, no behavior is imprinted. Yeah, I think just the CPU particles should be fine. All right, well, I missed the amount of time that took. Let's go try that again. We're going to zoom in on that sign. So like I said, over the course of 10 seconds, it's like, hey, you want to click this? I think 10 is too short because it's showing immediately. And we probably wanted to show after a longer time. Also, this ease in, out, in, out. Can we just not specify this? What happens if you don't have easing? If not set, default easing is used. Oh. Okay, yeah, I think 30 seconds. These are the very little things that we're going to eventually look at almost exclusively toward the launch of this game. Things of like, how do we just make it a little clearer that you want to do this thing? Yeah, so now over 30 seconds, it's going to be like, hey, look at this. Look at this thing. Although this could be confusing. Like, why is this glowing? Yeah, I think it's fine for now. I'm going to probably leave it as is. Yeah. Okay. Add a particle effect to the sign and added an exclamation mark to the guild master. Let me look at this one more time. I think everything had looked good. It does. I just don't like one thing about this, and it's that this needs to be in its own function. Private void set up sign particles. And then just bump this down to there. There. Can't imagine that's broken. Yeah, so it looks good. I'm not using the emotions, no. Nope, my magnetic bind beat me to it. Good job, magnetic bind. All right, so I think the next stuff is all the shop stuff. Future adventures, ask for money first. So this part's done. Change get next adventure so that we instead provide a pool of classes. Yeah, we'll do that in the future. Where's your attention? Have an indication you do something. Building guild actually takes money. This code back in. Oh yeah, I'll do that eventually. Okay, so next we'd be building shop stuff. I think we'll be using those on other important objects. I agree, but I'm not sure if we want it to be a particle system or just like a highlight, a glow effect. I feel like a glow would be better than particles. And I think for a glow, we would probably want to use a shader. And I don't want to spend too long on it right now. Okay, shop stuff. I don't have a lot planned for this, I guess. So we need to figure out what we're even going to do first. So remember, the way the game starts right now, okay, so you see everything. And this was what the problem was. This is what we're trying to address, is that there's just too much going on even with this. It's like, here's your storeroom, but it's not obvious it's your storeroom. You have your character here, but it's not obvious that's yours or that's you, because we never introduced the game. And also there are 5 different characters. Then you have your shops that you already started with. And what you're actually supposed to do, despite all of that stuff, is click start battle at the bottom. And it says that here, start a battle, earn items. It's just not super clear. And that's why the way we're changing it to is this, where you're going to start and you're just going to see this part of the screen. And the only thing you can do is build a guild at first. So it lets you hire and level up adventurers. You click build. You get a character here. You click that because, again, this is all you'd be able to see. And it says, looks like you need to hire an adventurer. You click hire. You pick your first character. This is another important part of the game that we're changing. We always started you with a rogue, which, I mean, that was fine, but players wanted a choice. So sure, this is how you get that choice. So now you can pick between probably only 2, to be honest. I don't think this is ever going to change. I don't know which 2, but probably damage dealers. So sure, pick whichever one you want, click hire, and now the mage is in your town, and you could start a battle. So we've got the mage fighting a bat. However, you're now going to earn an item from this battle. And sure, we have your storeroom over here, but yeah, so you get a couple of potions, and now your character can go restock them in the shops. But you wouldn't have a shop. So we need to build your first shop, and that's where I'm not totally sure how we want to do this. I guess the location is not something I should think about for right now. We are going to have some plot of land somewhere. We also need, I guess the order you do things in is you get the guild and then an adventurer and then go into battle, get an item, and you need a place to sell it. So that's when you build your shop. Do the auto follow camera move into specific events? Yeah, I think we'll do something like that. Alternatively, just the mage will spawn at the guild or something. Maybe they were inside the building all along. So there are some questions here. One, where is your storeroom at the beginning of the game? Where is the portal to the battles at the beginning of the game? Actually, it doesn't have to be a portal at first. It could be that for the forest, they just like walk off the screen to the left and they get into a battle. I don't want to make multiple things for that. The shop can be a place where you learn what or why you're collecting items. Oh, the what and why is going to be explained in the like intro cutscene. And for anyone who hasn't heard this yet, it's that you wanted to be an adventurer, and then you went out, you fought a snake, you got poisoned, you died, you came back as a skeleton, and now you're like, I'm going to start a shop, and that way no one else is going to get poisoned. So that's at least the why. I guess the what you're getting, you could eventually just hover over the items or something. So yeah, where's the portal to the battles at the beginning of the game? Where's your storeroom at the beginning of the game? And then where do you get your first shop? I guess we're going to need like a starter town layout. Also, maybe your guild comes with a portal where the adventurers can battle. That could make sense. Yeah, your storeroom at the beginning of the game, though. Maybe you just got some like very tiny area and it's got only 4 item displays. I'd like to do something like that. Maybe it's just a small area with room for up to 4 displays. Do you have multiple storerooms in the future, though? Do you have to upgrade the guild to access new areas? I don't know what I want to do for that. I want you to be able to go to different areas and have to unlock them somehow. I don't know if it's going to be through the guild. Maybe you click the portal and the portal has its own menu. But I've got to do it in some way that's clear to you. And the guild is going to be used for all the adventurer stuff. And I guess battling is kind of an adventurer thing. So maybe. Do you have multiple storerooms in the future? If you did have multiple storerooms, how are items getting to each room? Oh, man. How would items get to each room? What did I say originally? Items just fall out of the portal or something? I think I wrote it down as an idea. I don't remember if I accepted it or what. Item ideas. What if you could pick up every item in one? No, I don't care about that. What if loot always dropped on the ground out of the portal? If nothing is done, it flashes and disappears. We could eventually give you an upgrade saying that items float to a valid storeroom display automatically. It just look weird if that happened though. Maybe not float, maybe like teleport. That'd also be strange. Why don't they just teleport to the shops? Yeah, the piling up and decaying after some time, I think would be part of this. And I think it'd be kind of cool to do that. Because what I'm picturing is, again, you start the game, you got your guild, you got your first adventurer, you sent them into battle, you got your items, and now the items are somewhere. I don't know where the somewhere is. I guess there would have been a portal. Right now it's over here, but imagine the items just like fall out of the portal and your adventurer comes out of the portal too. And now it's like, oh, hey, cool, you got items, you got a couple of potions. We need to be able to sell them. For that, we need a shop. So why don't you build a shop? That's what the character would tell you. And then you'd build your shop and you'd be able to either, now one of the things we added to the game pretty recently was you can actually manually drag items. So I could put this directly into the shop myself and wait for that one to sell. Yeah, and put this over there. There's a post office. You went to a dungeon, but then your items all get transported to the post office. Maybe you're fighting male people the whole time. Maybe that's what this game is really all about. So they just get dumped on the ground out of the portal. And you can drag them to the shop. Oh, maybe you don't start with a storeroom. Maybe you don't even start with a storeroom. I actually really like this idea. Yeah. So you have no place to store the items and they will just disappear. And one of the things you can build early on is a storeroom. Okay. So then the question is, if we do it this way, how do items get to your storeroom? Like I said, there could be an upgrade for it. I guess your workers, so this is where there are a couple of little issues here. Option number one could be something like workers always prioritize taking items from the ground. But then do they have to go to the storeroom? Could they just go right to a shop? Option number two, we have some kind of specialized worker that takes items from the ground and puts them in your storeroom. Option number three, workers randomly choose a task. Move item from floor to storeroom or move item from storeroom to shop. I don't know how I feel about this. A raccoon that forages for you? You mean takes these items off the ground? Because one of the things people were frustrated by in checkpoint number 1 was that the AI wasn't like perfect. And I get it. The characters would all run for the same item, and then they wouldn't change their path until after the item was taken, and they might take a couple seconds. So what I wouldn't want to have happen is, okay, the portal's here. Valuable items are just spewing out of this portal. You got like fiery swords and a diamond axe and whatever else, and they're just disappearing because your workers are prioritizing putting stuff into shops. So I guess they'd have to prioritize putting it into the storeroom. I feel like it's got to be option number 1. And if there's no space, then I don't know, you just eventually figure out how to manage your town, I guess. I guess they wouldn't have to go to a storeroom if they have shop space. Like if there's one item on the ground, they would end up moving from the portal into your storeroom and then the storeroom right over to a shop. And you'd be like, why didn't they just move to a shop? So I guess it's a question of, are there more items on the ground than there are workers? Yeah, that's the question. Maybe they prioritize, maybe they go straight to the shop if there are more workers than there are items on the ground. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd want some priority management system where you assign one worker to be like a pick items up off the ground kind of worker, and you assign another one to be a sell items at the shop kind of worker. And then in the future, upgrades can alter this behavior. All right, this makes sense. So you don't start with a storeroom. Items just spew on the ground from the portal. You can click and drag them to their destination if you want. Your worker will also pick them up and put them in the destination. Then you eventually unlock the storeroom. And now items spew out of the portal, and you can drag them into the storeroom if you want, or you can drag them right to a shop. Excuse me. I guess your workers would prioritize putting them in the storeroom. I guess there's kind of a problem with that too, right? If you have 10 items on the ground and it takes you just as long to put them in the storeroom, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we get like a javelin thrower and they just launch all your items across the map. I think I need to spend a little bit more time designing this. Problems I want to avoid is players being upset with the item management that happens automatically, adding too much complexity, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Problems I want to solve: figure out how your storerooms will look by the, well, at the beginning and end of the game. Do you have many storerooms? Do you ever not have a storeroom? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Well, there are only a few questions and they're kind of binary questions, right? Like, do you have many storerooms is one such binary question. Do you start with a storeroom is another such binary question. So if no, then all of your items would have to go somewhere. And I guess it would just be the ground, right? And if you have a storeroom, your items still could go on the ground, but they wouldn't have to. They could just teleport to the storeroom somehow. But I think if we're trying to teach a player how to play the game, that starting them with nothing, and when you win, these 2 potions just, spew out of a portal. I think that can show you like, oh, hey, you found some items, and look, there's your mage who was in the battle. They come out of the portal, and it's clear like, oh, you won the battle. You're getting items. You're not winning money. And now we need a shop to sell them. Okay, I'm definitely leaning toward no. Why not the basement? But it only has place for 2 items. If you want more, you need to buy a storeroom. Well, the basement then is a storeroom, right? And when I say storeroom, I just mean a place to store items. So you're suggesting that you start with a storeroom that has 2 slots and you can upgrade it. And yeah, that's one way of doing things. And maybe that's the clearest way. It's clear that items come from the battles by being dropped on the ground from a portal. Advantage would be that you as a dev could have a fixed place to drag the items from. You mean you as a player, right? I think, whenever you solve one problem, you might create a smaller problem, and that's kind of ripples outward until you've solved any of the big enough problems. And I think the thing here, I guess the other problem I want to solve is like teach the player how to play the game or how the game works. Otherwise, you'd have to code the logic to pick items from a pile. Oh. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, technically, you could just make it so that it's not very clear at first. You're just picking an item from the pile, and if you don't like that particular item, you could just drop it somewhere else on the ground. And it could be that this is only a beginning of game problem, and then eventually you get something where it's like, oh, items no longer spew onto the ground. You just get an upgrade, and they just go right to your storeroom. And by the way, that's what's happening right now. If I click grant items, they just immediately appear there. So this is like I just won a bunch of battles. And it works, but it's not clear how this is happening. Feels easier to reuse the already existing logic and move the location to a house. Okay, what if... So yeah, my original idea was you start with like a table. It can hold 1 item, and we don't need to explain how you got a table because it's just a table, and presumably you could make a table. You ever had long-lasting restraint? No, I haven't. So I guess that question would be, if you start with a storeroom, how do you eventually upgrade it? Maybe we say, and yeah, how do items get to it? Now we could just kind of bypass this for now. Just say, fine, you have a storeroom. In fact, it could be over here, although that's in the middle of nowhere. Should you have to build many different things? Would the multiple storerooms thing really matter though, I wonder? Like from the game's point of view, it could all be considered one. There are just different item displays. In fact, if I were to just change these coordinates, it doesn't matter where on the map they are. Yeah. All we need to do is know where the next coordinate is. In fact, we could say in the storeroom itself, add next item display, get next item display position. We could just say position equals new vector 2i. I want to get a random number. Random number. We don't ever get a random number that way. Okay, well, Godot has a rand range. Is this with integers? Double int. Yeah, they're ints. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we just said like 0, 500, and we put that in twice. So now we're ignoring the built-in position, which means these will just be somewhere on the map. Let's see. Does it look like total chaos? Yeah. They're just randomly there, and they're not even all accessible. But it works. And if I added a bunch of workers, they'll go get some of these. Although maybe the paths are totally blocked. Yeah, some of the paths are blocked. And now they're just flinging items because they can't make it certain places. Funny though. So yeah, we could do something like that. All right, well, what would the flow for that look like? And yeah, navigation map synchronization error. Crossing edges, overlapping polygons, or mismatch. Yeah, I don't plan on keeping this. I guess I still haven't really answered the question of how do items get to it. How is there an issue for this? So yeah, the storeroom, there can be one storeroom in code, and you can place the item displays anywhere. So from the player's point of view, do you ever have multiple of these, or do you just move the tables into a different storeroom? I mean, what feels best? If you're building up your town, you probably want to start with something small. Or start with nothing and have to build it. So I guess all I really want to answer then is this question for right now. How do items get to your storeroom? Did I write it in my other conclusions that I had here? Nope. I did not. Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess there are only a few options, right? Options. Just have the items appear there. Option number 2 could be dump them on the ground. Require moving. Hey, Trauma Turtle. I'm working on a game called Skeleseller, and it's a very laid back, like, wealth accumulation game slash town management. So you start and you need to hire, well, I mean, I guess this is now the new starting way. You build a guild and then you can hire an adventurer and you can pick rogue or mage. So let's just pick rogue. And then you can start a battle now that you have an adventurer. And when they win, which I'm just going to force over here, it puts items into your storeroom and then your character will go and stock them into your shop and then you can sell them. So this one's worth 3 gold. And when they finally make it over to here, then these customers can buy it. Yeah. So now I walk over to it. And now I have a whopping, I guess, 83 gold. I have 83. Oh, because only the adventurer costs money right now. Anyway, toward the end of the game, you'll end up with, more adventurers. You can go to larger battles. You can level up your adventurers. You yourself have some skill points you can apply. Yeah, sure thing, Turtle. What I'm trying to figure out, oh man, hang on a second. Oh, what I'm trying to figure out right now is the way you get items is they just immediately appear in your storeroom. Excuse me. And I've just never liked that idea, but I don't know what to do. And I only have 2 ideas. It's just have the items appear or dump them on the ground and then require moving them. I don't think I have allergies. I think I only cough when I stream. I think it's just talking nonstop. I like the dump them on the ground idea, but I still think it's not super clear. I think maybe we just shouldn't worry about this. Yeah, just have the items appear in the storeroom. If we come up with a better idea later, then we come up with a better idea. Okay, fine. So then you start with a storeroom, I guess. Your storeroom is really just a table. And when you get your first item, it appears on the table. And we need to make sure you only get one item from your first battle. I guess so. Like, I'm trying to think of how the beginning of the game is going to work exactly. And it's going to be, well, I guess I have it written down over here. You put up a sign that says Skeleton next to a path where customers can enter your town. Wait, if you have a table, why are you not just selling things from the table? Man. I never... Okay, I didn't think of this, but here's another idea, which is what if items went directly to a shop, if possible, and only went to your storeroom when you didn't have space in a shop? Then your workers would have even less to do. Unless items are selling like crazy. So torn. Guild sign. You start with a storeroom that's just a table. I guess I'm not clear. It's not clear to me what I want to teach the players at first. It's like, okay, yes, you need to build that guild and you need to hire an adventurer. That needs to happen at some point. But maybe we work kind of backwards. Like your character's like, okay, I've got a place to store an item, but I don't have any way to get items. I know I'll build a guild, and they build a guild, and you can get your first adventurer. You learn how to send them to battle, but then you need a shop. And I wonder if that's... Yeah, okay. The other thing I was thinking about is if you could build duplicate buildings, then at any given point you could choose which building you're placing. And maybe you can put little like storeroom modules down somewhere. So instead of getting this gigantic storeroom like this, you're getting one with maybe up to 9 items, and you can put them in many different spots. So you'd want to optimize for which ones are close to your shops, I guess. But that's assuming it's that kind of game. Section 3B says it must be sold at a guild-owned shop. Still trying to think of whether all this stuff makes sense. Like, could you just sell without the shop? Then you wouldn't need a shopkeeper. If you didn't need a shop, then what does the shop do for you when you finally unlock it? Got to do something more or better or different. Like maybe when you sell the item, you can get at most 1 gold for it. That could be kind of interesting, maybe. Maybe you can only earn 1 G per sale, and shopkeeps can earn more. I mean, you want to go on an adventure and fight, and then you cannot sell? Well, okay, that's one way of doing it. What I'm saying is if you didn't need a shop. So it's not, well, now you can't sell items. It's like, what if you could sell items without the shop? Nobody will buy from a skeleton. Well, that's where you could say it's just capped at 1 gold. Like, that's the only way they're willing to buy from a skeleton if they're getting a steep discount on their goods. The reason why I'm even pursuing this is, yeah, what if we could cut out building the shop until you've gotten a feel for the game loop? That's why that's important. Although it's not really that difficult if we just had you build the shop at first too. Let me restart this. Yeah, there. So you start the game. The adventurer is the only necessary thing that needs to happen. So you'd need to build the guild. Gotta send them into battle. All right, I'm just gonna write a bunch of ideas. I thought I'd be coding this. I'm just still not confident about what I'm doing. Also, I should really just put this down in the scratch section over here. All right, so start of game and the shop and items. Oh, I don't know why that pasted in twice. All right, so questions. Do we have multiple storerooms? How do items get into the storeroom? Do you need a shop at all at first? If not, what do shops provide when you finally unlock them? And yeah, I I feel a little weird about starting you with a storeroom that isn't really needed because you'll only get 1 to 2 items. And it probably just wouldn't be clear what that is or what that means. But if you don't have a storeroom, then items have to fall on the ground. And then your character would need a shop as a destination. And maybe that works. Maybe your worker is just stocking things from the storeroom. Maybe they can't stock things from the ground. Maybe your worker can't. I'm going to write this out as bullet points so I can clearly see where I've delineated this. Can't stock things from the ground, which makes no sense. But yeah, what if they just couldn't for some reason? Maybe gotta be some elegant way of doing this. I get 1 to 2 items. If the player doesn't build the storeroom, then they may not realize what it is or why it's needed. Yeah, I like this idea of building it once there's a need, and you don't really need it at the beginning. And once you're like, oh man, I'm getting a ton of items, but they're just getting deleted, it'd be like, oh, hey, maybe you want a storeroom. But yeah, if you didn't have one, then how are items getting to their destinations? And it could be that your adventurers, before they have auto battling, just carry a single item at a time out of battle and directly to a shop if one exists. It could work. Yeah. And then we remove that ability later. It'd be strange to do that. Remove the ability later, and if adventurers can carry items, then it would confuse players if they entered battles while carrying items. All right, so I'm not sure I like this idea. I kind of like this idea. Just can't stock things from the ground. Where's the stuff that I had here? Yeah. The scratch stuff that I came up with that I sort of liked was this. Workers prioritize. So items can drop on the ground from the portal. Workers prioritize taking items from the ground Workers can go straight, can skip the storeroom. There are more workers than there are items on the ground. This is what feels wrong to me, is we're controlling this prioritization for you. Like, what if you controlled it? Workers just always take an item from a source to a destination. Yeah, and if that destination isn't where you want, maybe they just always take it to the storeroom. Yeah, in fact, then you would be manually moved. Okay, I kind of like that idea. I don't know. Alternatively, workers could just always bring items to the storeroom since you can manually move them to shops on your own. Yeah, and then eventually this can be made into a non-issue by giving an upgrade where items go right to your storeroom. It can be a storeroom portal upgrade. All right, that's working a little bit better for me, I guess. And I think not starting with a storeroom. If you rent the store from a place and they provide carriers, so your adventurer can, instead of carrying items, fight and generate loot, the player would think, hey, I make more money buying a shop than my adventurer can fight. I don't think I want adventurers to carry items at all. I actually already took it out of the game. So if I grant a bunch of things and then click grant items, only the worker is going to go pick up items. So like this is a cleric, they're just ignoring all the items. And the rogue and the mage are just going to wander around. So yeah, it's only your workers that do that right now. And the reason why was that they could pick up items originally, and then players got confused when you sent them into battle. So if I just click start battle right now with the rogue and the mage. So take a look. The rogue is right there. And I click start battle and they just disappear from town. And when they were holding an item, if they disappeared, it would actually keep that item on their body in the ether. And when they popped out of battle, they would have the item on them again. But people didn't pay that close attention and they thought they just got deleted. And I think alleviating player confusion is really important. So I just don't want adventurers carrying items. I did like the tension that it produced of, well, they could be battling, but they could just be carrying items, and you have to manage which one you need more of. I thought that was pretty cool. And we could still get them to carry items as long as we make them drop them when they go into battle. In fact, maybe that's what they do. Maybe, you know what, that's kind of interesting. If items can go on the ground, then maybe adventurers could carry items again and they just drop them when they go into battle. And when they're auto battling, they don't enter the town while waiting to regenerate. I think this could work. Yeah, I think this could work. Item drop on the ground from the portal. Workers prioritize taking them from the ground. They can skip the storeroom. Alternatively, they could just bring items to the storeroom. And you can manually move them to the shops on your own. Yeah, yeah. I think I want to try this. I don't see any real problems with this. Like you could pick items up off the ground, right? Yeah, probably. Could be made to carry items again, and they drop them on the ground when they go into battle. When they're auto battling, they don't enter the town while waiting to regenerate. Yeah. And then, yeah, you don't start with a storeroom. So what is your worker doing then? I guess stocking right from the floor to the shop? No, your worker's doing kind of nothing. That Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Also, another question I've never answered is, you are the skeleton, but then you as a player can manually move items. What's the explanation for this? You know, I can take this, I can pick this up and move it. Like, what is doing this in the world? If I were that character, what am I seeing happen? Is there just some like magical force that's moving the item, and it just appears in the shop? I don't know what the answer to that is, and I don't know if that matters, but I think it's kind of weird management. But like I said, imagine you're an NPC and you're walking around. Are you just seeing an item float? Is it like the skeleton has magic? I don't always think there needs to be a reason for why these things happen, but I think that if you're instructing the player, like, hey, by the way, you can manually move items, and you'd be like, me? I thought I was the skeleton. Yeah, you don't start with a storeroom. You instead just drag items from the ground into your first shop that you build. Also, if you ever put items on the ground and there's no path to them, then we might have a problem. I guess we need to make sure there's a path. It would mean that the portal would become kind of a dumping ground area. We could try to separate out the items a bit, but there's always going to be like just a pile of items. If items can be... We need to make sure that the items can always be pathed to. Path to them, otherwise we'll run into big problems. Okay, well, a bunch of other changes, right? So we're saying you start with nothing, you build your guild, you get your first adventurer, you send them into battle, there's got to be a portal here or something, and then items just spew onto the ground after that. And it can be in some like 3x3 area. Because at first all you're going to do is find like one potion per battle. And you get your first potion and it's there on the ground and it's like, hey, look, a potion came out of the portal. We can sell that, but we need a shop. Why don't you build a shop? And then the camera zooms out a little bit and it's like, oh, look, there's a plot for a shop right over there. Yeah, okay. I like it. I think it'll work. I think these are the conclusions I have. If anyone is listening and cares about this, please let me know if this sounds like a really dumb idea for some reason. Again, just summing up, when you get items, like right now there's a portal here, they'll just spew out of the portal onto the ground. And then any workers you have will come over and pick them all off the ground and put them in your storeroom. Then you can drag them to the right place from the storeroom. And eventually your workers, if there are no items on the ground, can also just put them in the store, in the right shop for you. And yeah, you don't start with a storeroom. Hey, Godzilla. All right, whatever. I'm saying those are my conclusions. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Items in the storeroom. Items can drop on the ground from the portal. Workers always prioritize taking items from the ground into the storeroom. Yeah. If the storeroom is full, then they can go to, actually, can they go to the shops? Yeah. You can go to a shop with the item. Rationale, you can manually move items, so you can be the one to move items from the storeroom into a shop. Eventually, this can be made into a non-issue by giving an upgrade where items go right to your storeroom. It can be a storeroom portal upgrade. All right, adventurers could be made to carry items again, and they just drop them on the ground when they go into battle. And when they're auto battling, they don't enter the town while waiting to regenerate. That way they don't keep moving items slightly and then dropping them again. And items fade away after being on the ground for too long. And you don't start with a storeroom. Oh, okay. Wow. So then you don't start with a table anymore. So we're going to delete that. You do not start with a storeroom. Which means you can only sell one item, or well, you can only hold one item at a time in your shop. Yeah. So if you don't start with a storeroom, is the portal available? The portal. So there were kind of two portals we were talking about. One is the like the instance portal. This is what gets your adventurers to a place like the forest or the volcano or whatever. And then the other was the storeroom portal, which is what puts items immediately into the storeroom. So at first, there will just be this portal. You start with this one with the guild maybe, and items pop out of this. So this is not in your storeroom. You don't even have a storeroom at first. Ruby time. What? Yeah, anyway, I like this idea. I think we need to split up some of these things. Oh, VS Code thought you were writing Ruby. Oh, I see. Yeah, where does the language show? I know it's at the auto detect. Oh yeah, it's at the bottom right. I'm probably blocking it right now, but yeah, it says Ruby. Oh man. All right, so what I'm debating on is I've been streaming for 2 hours and 34 minutes, and I don't know how long the earlier stream lasted for. Yeah, so I've streamed for what I would consider the right amount of time for today. I don't think I should start a new thing. The portal is there from the start, and items pop out of it. Where would the workers put it if you don't start with a storeroom? Yeah, so what's gonna happen is you will start with actually no portal, although you might as well be starting with one. So the guild is probably gonna have one like right here. And when you win your first battle, an item will pop out of that onto the ground. Your worker will not actually have a destination for it at all. There won't be a storeroom, there won't be a shop. But what you're going to see is it'll be like, oh, hey, you got a potion. We'd really like to sell that, but we don't have a shop. And then it zooms out a little bit and you're like, oh, look, there's a plot for a shop. Why don't you go build a shop over there? So you click the sign, you click build shop, you get a shop, and now you have one item display. So the potion can be put onto the item display. And I guess maybe your worker does it, maybe you do it. And then a customer wanders into your town and goes and buys your potion. And it's like, oh, hey, we just made 5 gold. What if, I don't know, what if you upgraded your shop, or what if you built a storeroom, or what if you, I don't know. From there, the game can start to progress, basically. And how we make it progress is going to be very important, because we got to make sure that that process doesn't take too long. But we also don't want you getting like a million customers at first. We want your early stuff to sell quickly, but we want it to sell for not a lot of money. And probably for the early on upgrades, it costs very little. Yeah. Okay. Worked a lot on the higher adventure dialogue in the morning. Worked on the guild and guild master in the afternoon, and also did some more game design for how items and the storeroom will work. Oh man, this game is going to look totally different. Yeah, these really are the changes I wanted to make. I think we can get this done by the end of September. These things at least. I also wanted to fit a music track in there somewhere. By the way, Muti, did what I say make sense? Does it? I guess one, did it make sense? And two, does it sound good if it made sense? Because I think it'll work. Yeah. Battles. Yeah. Uh-oh. I liked the yeah. I didn't like the I'll just do the demo. Yeah. 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 Actually, this is a pretty interesting idea. You get a scripted rare customer. Maybe due to getting a scripted rare item. Although we have to make it clear that it's a one-time thing. Yeah, that could be how this works. You're getting potions that are worth like 2 gold each, and then all of a sudden a rare customer comes up and, critical sale, you get 200 gold instead of 2. And now that 200 lets you build something. I don't know, maybe you get to pick a little bit. You'll need a storeroom at some point. We'll have to see how it works. Okay, well, I think today was pretty good. I'm happy with everything we've done and talked about and coded. And again, for those who didn't see, I'll show this really quickly. There's not too much to show. But yeah, we have the build guild sign over here. It slowly gets more and more particles on it until you're like, hey, I better click this thing. So you click it, it just says the same thing you used to say. You click build, and you get your guild with the guild master, and you can click them, and they tell you about hiring an adventurer. Click hire. You can actually pick which one you want at first, and you pick that one, and now you have your adventurer. And they spawn over here for now because everything comes out of the portal. And then from there, you can go into your first battle, which the game's going to have to teach you how to do. And from there, you'll get your first item, and then they'll just spew onto the ground, which we haven't done yet, but that's it. So that's the progress from today. For those who didn't hear, I had not been feeling great the rest of this week, but I think things are hopefully getting back to normal. Unfortunately, as of Thursday until the 26th, I'll be on vacation. So the last 2 days of streams will be Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. August 15th to 27th. Yeah. Let me go find someone to do a raid. Man, I do not like this process. Once you've rated practically everybody, trying to find someone new who fits all the criteria. Oh, okay, here's someone I've never rated before. All right, nice. Hope it's happening again soon. Yeah, I'll be streaming again on Monday. And we're just going to pick up from where we left off here. And then Wednesday will be the last stream before vacation. And then as of September, things should just be back to normal. I'm hoping it's just normal, 6-hour days, etc. But yeah, take care, everyone. I hope you have a good weekend. I'm leaving you with someone I've never watched before. They haven't been online for too long, and I've never rated them before. So let's all say hi. And I'll be back on Monday. So take care, everyone.